Salutations from Wizard Studios. I am the Wizard. We have another news episode coming to you. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody to like the video. It really helps out the channel when you do. Also, if you want more MMA content, subscribe to the channel and we will get that coming right to you. Alright, first up, Rizin champ Manel Kape signs 4-fight deal with the UFC. Kape fights out of AKA Thailand and was the bantamweight champ for the Japanese-based promotion. Kape defeated Ian McCall, also defeated Rizin Yamamoto, and avenged his loss to Kai Azakura. Now, this is a great signing for the UFC. I believe that he is going to make a immediate impact in the bantamweight division, and the bantamweight division's already stacked. We got to remember that. So, who is he going to fight in his first fight in the promotion? I believe the best matchup for this young man will be John Dodson. That'll be the perfect gauge to see where he is. And if he gets past John Dodson, then we know this guy's for real. Now, not saying that he's not. I think he's great, and I think he'll make an immediate impact, like I said. But John Dodson will be the test. And if he can get past Dodson, hey, we know he's the real deal. And I'm excited to see. This is a great signing. I believe that he'll make an immediate impact, like I've said twice, now 3 times. So let's see what he's going to do. I'm really excited, and I can't say it enough. Fantastic signing, and looking forward to see what happens. Next up, Valentina Shevchenko is out of her fight against Joanne Calderwood due to a leg injury sustained in her title defense against Katlyn Chookagian. So this right here just tells you how tough Valentina is, because I did not know that she even hurt her leg in the Katlyn Chookagian fight. It did not appear to me at any moment that Valentina was injured. She completely dominated that fight and showed no signs of being injured to me. And now we're hearing that her leg, is injured and she cannot fight against Calderwood. So, how tough is Valentina Shevchenko? Well, we already knew that she was tough as nails, and now we're just seeing that she's even tougher. So, I think that, the fight was already probably going to get, pushed or whatever with all the stuff going on. So this could, help her out a lot. Getting, all healed up. She wasn't going to fight anyway. But I think that with the current situation, that this will be able to get her healed up. Probably before the fight was even going to take place. I don't know that for sure, but I have a hunch, maybe, So, good for Valentina to get all healed up. We always want her to be at her full self when she gets into the octagon. Because Valentina might be the very best female mixed martial artist in the world. Say what you want to about Nunes. I will go to my grave saying that Valentina Shevchenko won that second fight. Now, say what you want to, but that's what the Wizard says. Moving forward, Glover Teixeira says current situation is no joke, but still wants to fight Anthony Smith in April. This will be the first fight night card that Glover has headlined in 3 years. If it happens, Glover owns his own gym and has 2 friends helping him prepare for the upcoming fight with Smith. Now, Glover is one of the original OGs. If I remember correctly, he a lot of the coverage on him in the early part of his career was kind of muffled because he couldn't fight outside of Brazil, if I remember correctly. So, you know, this guy's always overcoming obstacles his whole career, you know. And I've liked Glover. I've enjoyed watching him fight. The guy is just a good guy. I mean, he just goes in there, he handles his business in the cage. If he comes up short, he's still, you know, he's great in defeat. I can't say this enough. The guy's just a great killer, you know. He's a great human being and a killer, you know. And so when you hear that he's training, in his gym, he's just taking his friends in there, and he's still going hard, and he wants to fight Anthony Smith still. I really believe that Glover Teixeira can surprise a few people, man. I think that he can beat Anthony Smith. I know Anthony Smith just beat Gustafsson, okay? Gustafsson is upon the elite of the elite. Gustafsson beat the snot out of Teixeira. If you remember that, I mean, he just landed uppercut after uppercut after uppercut. But what do we know to be true? That MMA math does not add up. So, when you look at this, I believe that the grappling of Glover Teixeira might be a significant problem for Anthony Smith. Moving forward. Dominic Cruz says he wants the Peter Yan title eliminator fight, but says he never turned down the Corey Sandhagen fight. Now, this is interesting. Dominic Cruz is saying that the matchmaker Sean Shelby is, you know, getting a little bit of fighters' feathers ruffled, if you will, before, you know, to get the fighters to sign the match, you know. He said that he knows this to be true. Well, he says that he knows that he does it. Doesn't know for sure if it's true, but he says that he's pretty sure he does it, is what Dominic, I heard him say in an interview. Now, what does that mean? It's a strategy that Sean Shelby and the matchmakers use to get fighters to sign bouts. It's a pretty good strategy. Fighters don't like to be, you know, called, you know, names, say that they're ducking fights, say that they're afraid to fight people. You know, those are things that get fighters ticked off. So when they hear that, they're like, oh no, I didn't say that. I'll fight him right now. Let's go. So it's a good strategy. Now, Dominic would like to fight Peter Yan. I think that his herky-jerky, he hates it when people say that. His awkward, Dominic's style is a potential bad matchup for Peter Yan. But dude, Peter Yan has got unequivocal power at bantamweight. I really believe that. That dude's power in his hands at that weight class, I don't think anybody else possesses it. You know, Marlon Moraes with his kicks, maybe. You know, maybe now that Jose Aldo's down there. But, you know, how much is that weight cut depleting Aldo? Can he carry that power like Yan can? I believe that Peter Yan might be the most lethal striker in that division. So, with that being said, if he lands on Dominic Cruz, I believe he could put him away. But he has to land. That's the big thing when you fight Cruz. You have to land. But the question is, can Cruz even get that fight? Because supposedly, we have Yan matched up with Moraes. So why are they even telling Cruz that he could get that matchup? It's kind of weird, right? I guess with all the stuff array right now, they're just throwing stuff out there and seeing if it sticks. But they shouldn't be doing that, because supposedly all of these fights that are postponed are still going to happen. So why are they changing the matchups? It's not fair for some of these fighters, for all of them, because they're not going to get the same opponent, and they're preparing for that opponent. So there you have it. But I do believe the tougher matchup for Cruz would be Peter Yan. I just think that his power is a problem. It is a serious problem. Not taking anything away from Sandhagen. That dude is awkward. You know, he is awkward. And he is good. He is really good. I just think that Peter Yan, I think that dude is on another level. We'll leave it at that. Fighters who were supposed to fight on the UFC London card are being compensated. So, it has come out now that these fighters are now being compensated because the fight, I guess, you know, it was postponed, and they're still saying it's postponed. I guess they're going to get, they're saying that all of these fighters are going to get their matches for the year. Dana White is still saying all of that. We don't know if any of this is true. We don't know if any of it's true. But now they're compensating the fighters, which is great. That should happen. But what does that mean? So now, are the matches still going to happen? Or is it going to be the same matchups? Is Leon Edwards going to fight Tyron Woodley? Or is it going to be something different? Are we getting different matchups? We need to know. The fans need to know. So, what does this mean for the fighters? Because when you look at this, they're not getting paid, obviously, their full purse. From what I understand, they're getting compensated for their camps. Now, the UFC London card, I believe, it was canceled the week of, like, 7 days. Yeah, 7 days, right? 7 days. Right around that time period. Right around a week. Maybe it was 6. So, that to me tells me, alright, we paid you. Now, we can do what we want with these matchups. That's what it tells me. Compensated you. Let's move forward. That's all it tells me. And the fighters are happy, and they should be happy. They've been compensated. But now I'm wondering about Leon Edwards and what this means for him and his matchups, because Tyron Woodley was the perfect matchup for Leon Edwards. I believe it was the perfect stylistic matchup, and I believe it was the perfect matchup in the rankings for him to move forward. So, I don't know. I believe the UFC is now positioned themselves to do what they want to in the matchup department. And they always could, but now they've done it so that they can not have any ties, really, you know? So, yeah. Moving forward. Khabib defies Dana White. Does not leave quarantine. So, Khabib posted to social media and pretty much let everybody know that he will not be participating in UFC 249 on April 18th. Now, I believe that when he went to Russia and left, and he said, you know, it was going to be in Dubai. They told me it was going to be in Dubai, and then Dubai closed their borders, and then he went to Russia to continue his camp or whatever. Right then and there, I thought, it's over. There's no hope. It's done. And so you have to think, alright, a lot of people are mad. I understand. Everybody wants to see this fight. But if Khabib leaves, gets on a private jet, comes to wherever the fight is going to be, all I'm hearing now is that the fight's going to be in the United States. I'm hearing the Performance Institute. I'm hearing Florida. So, if he gets here, he fights, you know, whatever the outcome is. What if he can't leave? What if he can't get back? That's the big thing. You know, Khabib has a family. Khabib has kids. You have to think about all of that. You know, that's a big thing. He doesn't know how long he could be stuck here. You know, everybody can promise him all these things, but the situation still remains. Nobody knows nothing until he gets here and tries to leave. That's when he will really find out if he can. So, you know, the Russian government released a statement saying, you know, he can get on a private jet and get over here. They will, you know, allow him to do that. You know, if the UFC does the proper, you know, protocol and all that. But we still don't know if he can get back. You know, that is the main thing. We do not know that. So, I understand Khabib. I understand completely. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Moving forward. DAZN to withhold next rights fees payments, which could include Bellator. Set to start furloughing thousands of employees to keep them on the books while taking a leave of absence. So this could be big trouble for Bellator and all of those employees. I believe that you know, this is happening all over the world with all types of companies. I've seen this with friends and their companies, and it's sad. I mean, it's really sad. I just, my heart goes out to them. I hope that all of these people can survive this. I hope that Bellator can survive this. You know, I know that the UFC, you know, 99% will be able to, from what I understand. But you got to think that Bellator, the PFL, all of the you know, smaller fight leagues are going to really struggle, and it sucks because MMA is finally becoming the sport we want it to, and then all of this starts happening. So, I mean, it's just terrible. And I hope that it can survive. All of these smaller promotions can survive because they matter. Like, everybody just thinks that it's just the UFC. No, these other promotions are what keeps this sport alive. The UFC is, yes, it is the main thing. It is the face of MMA. But the other promotions are what keep the fighters going. Like, I don't know what other way to put it. Like, not everybody can fight in the UFC. Moving forward, Ian Heinisch signs new 4-fight deal with the UFC. He's gone 2-2 in the promotion so far. So this is really good for Ian Heinisch. He has got one heck of a story. I really enjoy watching him fight. He goes out there and he puts it all on the line every time. He goes forward and he's fun to watch. So I'm glad that the UFC stuck with Ian Heinisch. I believe that he is really trying to improve. I know he's moved camps, and I know that he is, you know, he's wanting to better his game, and he's trying to do that. He's making the proper adjustments in his life, in his camp. He's doing everything the right way. So we'll see what happens with Ian Heinisch, and I truly believe that I know he was climbing up through the rankings and he hit a little roadblock, but I think that Ian Heinisch, you know, he doesn't get enough credit. He packs a punch, and I mean, his story alone, man, is just awesome. It's like it's one of the best in MMA. So I believe that Ian Heinisch deserved to stay in the UFC pretty much on his story and his fighting spirit alone. And you can tell, dude, the way he fights, you know, he's got a great will about him. And I believe that if he can come in and keep putting on good performances, get a couple wins, I think that he can get right back into the climb up in the rankings where he wants to be and continue to get better. So don't count out Ian Heinisch just yet. I think he has a lot more to prove, and I will be looking forward to seeing those improvements. Moving forward, Michelle Waterson hopes to fight Carla Esparza and hopes the UFC returns soon. Says that she might have to get Carla to agree to a virtual fight, but doesn't know who would judge that. So you got to think Michelle Waterson. That's a really good matchup. It was supposed to be, I believe, on ESPN plus 18. So Michelle Waterson versus Carla Esparza. I believe if Michelle could keep Carla at bay with the kicks, she would get the victory. You know, if Carla could get in with the wrestling, that's where she would get the victory. Now, Michelle Waterson's awesome. You know, talking about getting Carla to agree to a virtual fight. You know, who else would say that in the strawweight division? I don't think anybody would. So you gotta love Michelle. Now, I think that the UFC does a really good job in that division with the matchmaking. So this is the perfect matchup, Michelle versus Carla, and I want to see this fight. So yeah, whenever they get back, this is the fight to make. I believe right now I'm favoring Carla just with the wrestling. You know, I think that she can get inside. I don't believe that Michelle can keep her at bay with the kicks right now. She is very talented, But I believe that Carla gets it done with the wrestling. That's how I see it playing out right now. And I hope, that this does happen. I think Michelle, does need to get back on the winning track. And, yeah. That's how I see it going right now. Bob Arum slams Dana White over trying to put on an event during the current situation. Says he has flawed intelligence, and also said he ought to be ashamed of himself for not canceling the event. So, man, these guys have never liked each other, and I believe it's, because Dana White wants to get into the boxing. Bob Arum doesn't want him to. I also believe Bob Arum does not like that Dana has taken over combat sports. He does not, he hates that. And Dana White has. Dana White has taken over combat sports. He is the best promoter in all of combat sports, okay? And so every single chance that they get, any boxing promoter, any chance they get to bash Dana White, they will take it. Even 90-year-old Bob Arum will take Dana to the woodshed any chance he gets. So, you can't be surprised at this. It's just, it's another day for Bob Arum to bash Dana White, and it's just, whatever, man. Just, it is what it is. He's trying to pay his fighters, and just, I will say it again, if they can do it safely and the right way, then they can do it. If they can't, then they can't. Like Dana said, they go through all these medicals and stuff. I think it's good that he's trying to pay his employees. Like, I really do. Like, they cannot get paid unless they fight. He's following all the guidelines and all of this other stuff. Like, there. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't even want to discuss it. Alright, this is cool. Conor McGregor wants to fight Tony Ferguson since Khabib has pulled out. Says he's in fighting shape right now. Now, I know that everybody is just riled up at this. Like, let's see it, let's see it. I don't know if the UFC is going to do it. I really don't. So, because Conor, they like to get all of the, publicity. They like to build it up. They like all the fans to be there. They want all the money they can get with Conor. The thing is I do not know when normalcy will return. So, why not get as much money as you can right now? Because Khabib is a huge draw. Huge. Probably not as big as Conor, we all know that. He's huge though. Right there underneath him. So why not pull out Conor, who says he's in fighting shape? He's not taking in any of the toxins. He's letting you know that. So why not pull in Conor, save the card, and get this done? I believe Dana can do it. I believe the world wants to see it. They said Justin Gaethje, everybody was like, Justin Gaethje's awesome. Who does not want to see Justin Gaethje fight any day of the week? But to get the casuals, to get everything, even with the fans not there, to still get enough money, to pull the company through this. Maybe the UFC doesn't need as much money as, everybody thought. And they're just like, we're just going to throw Gaethje out there. I guess they don't, Because Conor said it. The UFC hasn't said nothing about it. They keep saying Gaethje. So, I would love to see Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson. If he beats Tony, there is no question he gets the Khabib rematch. There it is. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. He's earned it. I mean, there is nothing else to say. That's it. He's earned it. Michael Chandler, to test free agency, even stated that he wants to finish the trilogy with Eddie Alvarez. Now, Michael Chandler might be the hottest free agent, you know, after he finishes the fight with Benson. So, I know that he's been talking about going out there to one. I know he wants to fight Eddie. I know that he feels he won that second fight. He said it 1,000 times. He feels like he got wronged. So, I would love to see that trilogy. But I want Michael Chandler in the UFC. I believe that is where he belongs. I don't believe he's as good as he was in his prime. I don't think he's in his prime anymore. I wish he was in the UFC in his prime. I think that that was the signing that the UFC missed. But Michael Chandler, man, like, if he goes to one, there's another one. You know, the one guy. One championship is, you know, quietly becoming, you know, the best promotion. I really believe they got some of the best athletes out there. I mean, they're still a long ways away from overtaking the UFC, but dude, they are making signing after signing after signing, and they already had studs that nobody knew of. So when you think about this, if they can get Michael Chandler, dude, it's just, I don't know. I think that Chatri is really putting together a promotion that everyone can watch and be happy with. So you really have to appreciate what he's done for the game of MMA. The sport of MMA, I should say. I meant to say the fight game. Dustin Poirier wants to fight Tony Ferguson at UFC 249. Says he's training as much as possible, and that he texted Dana White to make sure that his name is in the mix. So when you think about this, he also said that he will beat up Dustin. And he said this and he said this, that, you know, Justin would be the one to beat Khabib, because they're talking about Justin filling in for Khabib now that Khabib's out. So, but he really wants to be the one to jump in and fight Tony. You know, that way he's right back in the mix. That way that there is no question that Dustin Poirier, you know, had a bad showing against Khabib that night. So, and he's not saying that. I'm just saying that could be the narrative. He could create that narrative. So, Dustin is saying that Tony, you know, leaves his chin up, has a lot of bad habits, says that Gaethje will exploit those habits, is saying in a nutshell that he will exploit those habits. He said he beat up Tony. He said he will beat up Tony. Not many people say that, man. It's making me want to see that fight. And Dustin doesn't really talk crap, you know, so he seems pretty confident, you know. I really, I want to see Dustin versus Tony now that, you know, Khabib's out. That's a really good matchup. I don't know how, after all this time, that we haven't seen it, I guess because of Dustin being a featherweight. But, man, that is one fight that I really want to see now. Moving forward. Usman says that he wants to make George Masvidal squeal like a pig. So these guys are still going at it, man. And so Usman has said that he wants to save UFC 249. He's been texting Dana. He's been letting the world know. He's saying that Masvidal has chickened out. Masvidal's managers come out and said, there's no way. We've already agreed to this. You're the one that's not agreeing to it. We don't know what's going on here. I believe it might be some of that Sean Shelby stuff that Dominic's talking about, Could be a little bit of that. While they are trying to figure out the lightweight situation, maybe. Let these guys bicker. I really believe that Usman and Masvidal could fight. Is Tony not going to compete now? We don't know nothing. They're not telling us anything. So now are we going to get a welterweight matchup? We don't know nothing. They didn't tell Usman no, from what I understand. They're not telling anybody no. I mean, this is a madhouse. So what is going to happen? Nobody can predict. Is Usman going to fight Masvidal? I believe right now, no. I think they're going to keep Tony on the card. I believe that it's going to be most likely Gaethje. That is going to be the most likely outcome. If they do go with the welterweight championship, I will be really shocked. So, but Usman is just constantly saying, hey, I will beat this guy up. Usman's confidence is through the roof after that Covington win. And I really believe that Usman, if he beats Masvidal, he could be on his way to stating his claim to the welterweight go. The guy is just talented as all get out, and I think that if he gets through Masvidal, the only guy that could probably challenge him would be Covington again. The dude's wrestling is off the charts, and his striking is getting better and better, as we saw in the Covington matchup. Dude is just awesome. A Nigerian nightmare. And his trash talking is getting better and better. Last up, Alex Hernandez doesn't know if Islam Makhachev is going to make it to UFC 249. Islam is over there in Dagestan with Khabib, so he trains with Khabib. He's hoping to fight either Diego Ferreira or Drew Dober if Islam can't make it. So, yeah, I think that both those guys would be a good fight for Hernandez. The dude is, he just wants to fight, man. All of these guys just want to get paid. Diego Ferreira, I believe, is the better matchup. But dude, Drew Dober is no slouch. That dude is showing you every time he comes out, man, that he is getting better and better. And I believe that either one of those guys could be a bad matchup for Alex Hernandez. Alex Hernandez is the guy that snuck Benil Dariush, if y'all remember that. Now, he also, I don't believe that he beat Francisco Trinaldo in his last outing. I think he lost that fight. He got the judge's nod, but I thought he lost that fight. I just think, if Alex Hernandez gets the fight with Ferreira, it could prove troublesome. I also think that if he gets the fight with Dober, it could prove troublesome. Both of those guys are bad matchups. And the Islam fight, I already thought that he was going to lose that matchup. I really did. I did not think he was going to win that fight. I think that Alex Hernandez is I was high on him at first, but I think that he needs to make some changes to better himself. Whether that be his fight, I think he needs to move camps. I think he needs to go to a different camp, and yeah, maybe that'll prove beneficial, because he just has not looked the same in his early fights, in his last few outings. But that's it, man. Let's wrap it up, guys. So remember to subscribe for more MMA content. Also, guys, like the channel. It really helps us out when you do. And we will see you in the next video.